everybody, and welcome to this interview. Today, my guest is somebody who studied fashion in Italy and also has her own YouTube channel. So please give a virtual warm welcome to Mélissa. Hello, Mélissa. So nice to have you here.
I'm so happy. I'm so excited for this interview. Thank you so much, really.
You're more than welcome. It's brilliant. So we've got a great episode today. We are going to be going through a few things. Let me just read my list of many things. Today, we're going to be finding out what it was like for you to study fashion in Milan, how you learn languages so well, because you do, and we're also going to be finding out if I have any taste in fashion. So, but before all of those interesting things, let's hear a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Mélissa, as you said. I come from Switzerland, from a little city next to Geneva, so from the French part of Switzerland. Therefore, I speak French, it's my first language. And I was fortunate enough to live in a few countries. When I was little, I lived in Spain, where I learned Spanish and English as well. And then we moved to Sweden for 5 years, where I went to an international school. I learned English there really well. And then we came back here to Switzerland, where I did most of my, well, all my high school actually. And then in 2015, I went to Milan, as you said, to study fashion for 4 years. And now I'm back in Switzerland to start my career here. So I love fashion, luxury, all of these things. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's a lot of traveling, that is, and a lot of languages. I didn't even know about the Spanish. That's another one. How many have you got? So many. 5. That's amazing. That is brilliant, and that's great. So, talking of all your traveling and studying, you studied fashion in Milan, which is in Italy. Well, I'm sure people know that, but anyway, you studied there. So that is pretty exciting. What was it like to study there, and what were the sort of things you learned on your degree?
Well, I would say that I learned 2 things. I want to separate in 2 things because it was the first time abroad for me alone. So, right. You know, I'm in Switzerland with my family, friends, and then I decided to go to fashion school in Milan. So I would say that I learned a lot related to the culture. You know, even though it's Italy, it's not that far from Switzerland, there's still a lot of differences in the language, obviously, the culture. And I learned a lot through that. I would say that I learned a lot after 2 years living there. At the beginning, I didn't really want to learn much of it. I was not interested, you know, I was in my little bubble. But then I just started to open up and I learned so much, and I learned Italian as well. So this was a really big deal. And I think for everyone who wants to go abroad and maybe study abroad and is alone or something like this, it's really important to try to open up to the culture, to the language, the people. It's really going to help you. And it's amazing to be able to do that, you know. So this was one thing that I really learned through my experience. And then when we talk about fashion school, because that's also quite a big deal. And it was the first time I was, you know, with so many people who loved fashion, who loved luxury, all of that. And I think that what I learned is to really push myself in a creative way. It means that before I was not really creative. I liked, you know, creating content, things like that, but I wouldn't think outside of the box. And this time being, you know, in a fashion school with people who love fashion and, you know, they're good at fashion. You're not with just people who read sometimes a magazine. It's people who know everything about fashion. So you need to really, you know, think a step ahead and think out of the box. So I think I learned a lot in terms of creativity. Yeah.
Right, well, that's great. So you found your experience changing more when you sort of opened yourself up to the Italian way rather than, as you said, staying in your own bubble. That's quite interesting. So I suppose that was quite a pivotal moment in your time there where you sort of embraced it. And I guess it was more fun after that, presumably.
Yeah, definitely. So much better. That's why I tell you, like, if someone who's watching this wants to go abroad, try to really open up, like, to the culture and everything. Like, really try. It's the best thing you could do.
Great advice on that. So I've watched obviously quite a few of your videos, and you have spoken about your course, and obviously that's a good time for the people who are watching this to check out your channel. I'll leave a link in the description. So I remember you saying that the fashion school you learned at is one of the best in the world, isn't it, recognition wise?
Yes.
And is that probably why you went, you know, Italy for that school? Was it the main draw with the recognition of the school?
Well, the school actually exists in Paris and London as well. So I could have chosen the 2 other places. I chose Milan. It's a funny story because I didn't really have the choice. Because I wanted to do fashion communication. I really wanted to study that. And it was a new course back in 2015 when, influencers, all that stuff was really happening at that time. And so it was a new course and it was only available in Milan, in Italy, in the school that was based there.
Oh.
So I had to go there, but it was not necessarily my first choice. I was thinking more of Paris or eventually London. Because as I told you, I was not really interested in the Italian culture, not at all. So yeah, that's that was a little issue, I would say, but that's why I ended up in Milan.
Right, well, that's it. It's interesting that you didn't initially have interest in the Italian culture, because I'm quite the opposite with that. Like the only place I've been abroad is Italy. And have you learned to love the Italian way now?
I have, and I should, because it's funny because I'm more Italian than I'm Swiss. I have Italian blood,
really?
so I should at least open up to the culture.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, there you go. Maybe that's why you took to the language so well and the culture. You tapped into part of who you are.
Exactly, I think so too, but no, I actually love it now. I really do. I love Milan. I love the place, but I can tell you that the first year that I was there, it was not easy, to be honest.
With the course you did, obviously you can't explain everything, but what sort of bits do you learn about in the fashion industry? What sort of do you focus on?
We learned softwares like Photoshop, Lightroom, Illustrator, all of these Adobe fancy softwares. So content creation. We learned PR, obviously. Marketing strategies on digital, but also for, press, newspapers, all of that. There was a lot, actually. It was a big course with a lot of things. I personally loved content creation. Yeah, but content creation, I love that part. Photoshop is something I love so much. So the digital world, and I really chose the right course. So I'm really happy with what I did. So just that's a summary, obviously.
Yeah, well, that is interesting. I could use some Photoshop now and then, but if you want to help me out. But no, that's interesting, because that sounds like a very sort of modern take on fashion. Going down the influencer route, the online content creation. That sounds like it's sort of been brought up to where we are now. So it sounds a very practical and usable way to go about fashion, which is excellent in that respect, because you basically set yourself up to be a fashion YouTuber as well. So
kind of, yeah, because I understand how brands work. So when brands come to me, I was fortunate enough to work with 2 small brands in the last few months, and I know how they are thinking, because I was studying as if I with the brand, but now I'm the YouTuber influencer. So it's really interesting to see both sides, So I'm really grateful for that. It helped me a lot for my small YouTube career.
Well, just beginning, and as you know, this interview will project you further. So that's what it is. Now you're all qualified, what would your dream job be in the fashion industry?
I love that question. I love it, but it's so hard to answer all the time, because, a dream, sometimes what happens in life, and I've had that before, is that I have a goal or a dream, and in the end, I get something else, but it ends up being better. So it's so hard to answer. But I have to say, I would love to be in digital marketing for a brand, obviously a fashion brand, a pretty famous one. I'm not going to talk about Chanel or Louis Vuitton, that's a bit extreme. Maybe it's not that easy to enter in these brands, but obviously if we talk about a dream, that would be it. Digital marketing, content creation for a fashion brand. So that's the end goal, hopefully.
And I think that's good that you said that you've learned sort of the other end of it. You've been taught as you're the brand, if that makes sense. So you can sort of reverse engineer it, and it'll make you more sort of effective within it. One thing I was going to say that about the whole jobs thing, I remember watching one of your videos, and you said that in Switzerland it's quite difficult to find sort of a fashion industry job. Do you think you'll have to move, or will you be able to sort of find something?
Well, that is great that you're talking about this. And for the people who are watching this, it's maybe going to help them. Who knows? Maybe there's someone who's from Switzerland into fashion. Yes, unfortunately, Switzerland, it's not easy in the fashion industry. They're not really developed, not developed at all, to be honest with you. Luxury, it's better. Obviously, you've heard maybe a lot about watches in Switzerland, so it's much better. However, they ask for like 10-year experience. So for someone who just graduated, it's really tough. So yes, I did think about moving at some point again, maybe back to Milan or to even Paris or something like that, because I couldn't find anything. However, since we're doing this interview today, I'm very proud to say that I got an internship recently in a web magazine focused on fashion. I thought it would never happen. Thank you. So I'm really happy. It just takes time, and you have to find the little things, because this is a tiny little web magazine that started recently. They're also an agency, and there are some of them that are, starting to appear in Switzerland, but it's still very hard. I'm not gonna lie. You don't have Versace, you don't have Chanel, you don't have all of these brands here. So yeah, it's a matter of being lucky, like I was in this case, or unfortunately, you will have to move. That is for sure. Yeah.
You're not just lucky, you're well qualified. Don't put yourself down.
Oh, thank you.
Well, that's brilliant. Congratulations on that internship. That must be brilliant that you've actually found a fashion job in Switzerland. Yes.
I know.
That is good news. So moving is not there yet. So talking about Italy, and as we sort of touched on, you, as far as I'm concerned, are very good at learning languages. Now, when it came to learning Italian, did you sort of learn it through being there and exposure, or did you sort of study the language? What sort of way did you learn it?
Okay, so that's also very interesting, because as I said, when I arrived in Milan, I was not interested in learning the language at all. I don't know why. I was just against it, really against it.
Yeah.
And some of my classes were in English and some were in Italian. For the Italian classes, we had a translator who would talk in the little machine, and we had earphones to hear the translation in English. And I used this for about a year, and then I decided to stop because I was like, you know what? Try to at least understand Italian. So I stopped listening, and I started to understand Italian very fast, thanks to, I think, French and Spanish. It helps a lot. So I started to understand Italian, and after I finished my 3 years, my bachelor's degree, I had about 5 months between my bachelor's and my master's. So I decided to, buy a few books, use YouTube, because YouTube is great for that. And I decided to actually learn Italian, register for a little certificate, like a B1 exam. I passed it really well, and that's how it went. Honestly, that's how I do usually. I like to just use books and YouTube to learn a language. To me, it works really well.
Right, so it was a mix of exposure, but also you did a lot of studying. That's quite exciting in that respect, because I probably one day would like to learn Italian, because I do very much enjoy visiting there. But I found that where I go to Italy, it's very sort of touristy, and they speak English a lot of the time, so you're very rarely tested. I sort of learn some basics just to sort of, get around, but people just end up speaking to you in English, and it kind of gets rid of the challenge.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the issue. I mean, Milan, I have to say, for when I was there at the beginning, I wanted to speak to people in English and they wouldn't understand. So maybe it depends. Rome, I think, is more touristic, so you will have people who speak English quite well. But Milan, depending on where you go, it will be tough, huh? Sometimes it was not easy.
Maybe that's what I should do. I need to go to Milan, maybe not study fashion, but throw myself into the culture and go through that. Yeah, we normally stay near Venice, so that's.
Yeah, it's more. That's maybe why, huh? You have more English, huh? Of course, if it's around Venice, yeah.
Exactly. Like if you want to find Americans in Italy, go to Venice. They're
unfortunately or fortunately.
Exactly, that's right. My Italian is quite limited. The conversations, actually, let's do a little thing here. I'll show you how my conversations normally go. It's sort of, come sta?
Ah, bene, bene, tu.
I am molto bene, grazie mille.
See, yeah, it's good, it's fine.
Inglese.
Sì, ma molto bene, sì.
Yeah. Per favore, please speak English. That's how they normally go.
Okay, though.
I can build upon it. But anyway, so let's see where now. This is exciting. I thought this is a rare opportunity that I'm speaking to someone with such knowledge in the fashion world that I thought I'd find out if I have any taste at all. So what I've done is selected a few sort of questionable pieces from my wardrobe, and I thought it would be fun if you could give me your opinion. And please feel free to be honest. It's okay if you don't like something. The worst thing that can happen is I won't upload your interview.
Oh, no.
Just kidding. I'm kidding. Just a joke. But as you said, touching on this blazer is Italian. It's navy blue with a light grey sort of stripe and 100% cotton. Does it get any sort of approval?
I actually approve of it. I said that it was great. It looks great. It's really well done, actually. It's hard to see everything, but I love the color. Yeah, no, it's really pretty. And it fits you really well, so the size is good. And it's Italian, so I mean that's why it's good. So no, the quality is great. Cotton is a great one to have, much better than polyester, etc. So this one is a 10 out of 10. Huh?
One tick in the box. I wear it when I go to Italy, and I got cotton because of the heat and things and everything like that. Now, referencing your YouTube videos, you've often said that it's important to find sort of your colour and the colours you like within a wardrobe. Now, I think my colour is dark grey. Would you share that view?
I say yes. It suits you well. I mean, to me, yes, I think it does, because it matches everything, your skin color, your hair color. So there's no issue with that grey. No, dark colors are good.
It's going well. It's going well. But it's going to get more exciting. Right, this next piece is my leather jacket.
Oh, I love leather jackets. I love it.
It's exciting. Yeah.
I love it. Inside it's this dark red.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And it's real leather.
Yeah, real leather.
Wow. No, I love these ones.
Brilliant. It's going well. Now, this is
going really
quite
well.
Now, I'm not so sure about the next one. Right, this is going to be quite bright. This is a shirt if I'm feeling sort of zany and sort of peculiar, which is every day. So here we go. What do you think about that? An orange shirt.
Okay, well, that's not my color personally, but it could suit you well. Honestly, I think it can suit you well. The color could suit you really well. Then it's bold. I mean, if you can wear that, you're good. You're like you're fashionista, as we could say. But like really, wow.
I find that with black jeans looks good.
Oh no, that could look good. Yeah, I wouldn't go with something too bright though. Yeah, black jeans is perfect. No, it could work. I mean, if you're bold enough to do it, then you go, because that's fashion. It's also, once again, thinking out of the box and doing things differently. So go you for that one.
Thank you. Right. The next shirt is an interesting one. I don't know whether you're aware, but I did a little bit of TV work in England, and I wore this shirt in the Big Brother house. Here we go. Right. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow. I feel like that's amazing. I feel like that's your personality.
Yes, it is.
It is. Right?
Sunflowers on red corduroy.
No, I like it because it's you. It's your personality. Like you can't go wrong wearing something that reflects who you are. Like, how can you go wrong? I approve.
Thank you. That's very deep. This is amazing. I should employ you as my fashion tutor. Oh, I don't need it. I'm getting it all right. Now, this is interesting. This is a shirt I often wear in Italy. Now, I wanted to ask you a question about this, because I've heard that shirts in Italy, they're only considered smart if they don't have a pocket. Is that true?
Oh, I've heard that sometimes, yes. But then me personally, I prefer with the pocket, but it is considered, yeah, a bit more like smart, yes. Because otherwise you look a bit too casual in a way with the little pocket, but then it's a matter of what you prefer,
So there we go. That's the pocket thing. And I think this one isn't too bad. It's sort of glittery, actually, but you can't see that.
It is. That's so cool. Really? Like the little stripes are glittery.
This is going well. I thought this would be a fashion sort of roasting. Now, you... Well, thank you. You made a video on your channel going through your handbags. Now, I don't have handbags, but I do have a couple of bags that I thought I'd show to you just for the sake of it. Right, here we go. The first one. Classic Adidas black and white bag.
Love that. That's yeah, exactly. Something you have to have.
I'm having to get creative now, but this is one that I always wear on holiday. It is just a sort of a throw on your back bag. It's just a simple Nike Air bag. Simple. Perfect. The next bag is very useful to me. I put many things in it. I take it all sorts of places. Here you go, a Tesco carrier bag. What do you think about that? Yeah, check it out. See, red and white is very cool.
Sunflower shirt.
Yes. That and a sunflower. Absolutely. Ta-da!
Together,
There we
though.
go.
Honestly,
So,
this you could see it on a runway with, and I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. Like, you know, that's like trend.
thank you for restoring my faith in my wardrobe.
Oh, really?
And I shall be very happy for a long time now. So thank you.
No worries.
I'm glad to get your fashion expertise. We could do it the other way around eventually. You can make a video showing me pieces with no fashion knowledge, and I will just say whatever.
That would be so funny. Why not?
Now, the funny thing is, I've just put all these clothes down and I've lost your questions. So 1 second. No worries, I have found them. Right. So, getting back into the interview now, apart from my fashion escapades, what is your sort of ultimate aim for your YouTube channel? What are you sort of wanting from it?
Okay, well, I mean, we'll start step by step. It was like a small little goal right now is to get my 1,000 subscribers. It's taking some time, but I would love that in maybe 2 months or so. I think it's possible because my channel is growing slowly but surely. And then obviously by the end of the year, I mean, getting monetized, but that's it's tough to reach these 4,000 hours. I think you know as a YouTuber that it's not an easy one. But that's the goal. And obviously, if you want me to think even like further in a few years, what I would like to do with my channel, I'm gonna say it. I don't know if it's gonna happen, who knows? But why not be able to maybe have it as a part-time job eventually? Like that would be amazing, you know, to earn quite a bit from it and also enjoy doing it. And I see it as a possibility. It won't be easy, but I think it's possible. So this is like the goal, you know, in a few years. Why not? So yeah.
Absolutely. Dare to dream, and I don't think it's unrealistic in the slightest. I'd say, you know, from what I've seen, you make great content. You've got a lot to offer, and I suppose the good thing is with YouTube that you eventually, if your channel grows a bit, you'll be able to sort of work with a few brands. They can send you bits. Products, things like that. You can do reviews and then you'll grow more. But I think it's very doable and you are on the right track. But I was, you know, when I was watching one of your videos about your channel, I remember, sadly, you said that you felt like sort of quitting a couple of times on YouTube, and that made me feel sad. I was wondering what sort of was it that made you feel like, you know, you might want to stop?
Well, a lot of different things, to be honest. The first thing was I was scared to not be able to stay consistent. And I don't want people to be excited for my content and then one day I'm not able to upload. So I got scared sometimes about that, and I was like, okay, I might as well quit, you know, instead of, you know, growing more and then letting people down in a way. So there was this, and then obviously, you know, sometimes you don't really grow. And unfortunately, me, I function that way. I like to see my channel grow, and it helps me. It motivates me. If it doesn't grow, even though I love YouTube and I love creating content, it's hard. You know, it's really hard. So I wanted to quit a few times. Thankfully, I have family and a boyfriend who really helps me a lot and motivates me a lot. So I'm very lucky. So they were always like, no, continue, do it, like continue creating content. It's going to grow. It's going to be fine. And yeah, that's how I kind of didn't quit, let's say.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you didn't. I'm sorry to touch on that, but I thought I might just be able to help you a bit because as a fellow creator, I know it is sort of a very slow process and it can feel a bit sort of lonely, and when you put out a video you put in so much work into and it doesn't do as well as you hoped, I know these things can be very disheartening. But I think with the way of YouTube that you can't sort of gauge your you know how you're doing just by the numbers, because it's a very gradual process. Yeah. And you're sort of laying the foundations of almost a brand, I suppose, and these things do take time. And I think the other thing that's helped me out, especially with consistency, is because I've gone through periods without not uploading, but I like to think of the subscribers as friends, and you'd have to think friends will understand and give you space to do your thing and be happy when you come back. And you know, as I said, it seems as if you've decided that you want to carry on and you're happy with that, which is great, because I would hate to see you stop. And so I'm glad you're back on the right track, but please don't be disheartened. Just keep going, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet. And you're right. You're actually right. We should see subscribers as friends, and it's really important to see it like that, because when you don't, that's when things go bad and you want to quit. So I really like that, actually. Thank you.
You're most welcome. I'm glad I could help you with that. And so we're actually coming to the last question, which is sad. So the last question is, what would your advice be to anybody who wants to get involved in the fashion industry?
Okay, so I would say do your research. That's really important because there's a difference between reading a magazine here and there, liking a few trends and going shopping, and then knowing all the designers, how PR works, what are influencers, all of that stuff. There's a difference. And I think it's really important for you to know exactly what the fashion industry is about. So know how designers work, know what is PR, what is communication, how brands promote their products, how clothes are made. All of this is really important, like the whole process. It's not only on the surface. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people think, actually. When I say I study fashion, people think, oh, it's just she likes shopping and whatever. No, it's much more than that. And if you want to get into fashion, really do your research and make sure you're passionate about that because it's a really tough industry. It's not easy at all. You really need to know everything about it. So this is really important. Like, try to find knowledge from YouTube, from books, from people who might be in fashion, friends who might be into fashion, like really try to find all that stuff. Like that, you will know more about it. It's really important. That's kind of my advice, I would say.
I'd say it's very good advice. So you sort of, it's testing people really if they truly love it and really want to do it, because as you said, it's a very difficult thing and you sort of need like a overall knowledge about every aspect. So I suppose for some people that would put them off, but it's a good test of interest. And no, that's really brilliant advice, and I hope that's helped someone out. So unfortunately, it's time to end, but I will say to everybody, please check out your YouTube channel. I will leave it in the description. And thank you so much for doing this interview. It's been great fun.
Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. So we'll stay in touch. And thank you for everyone for watching my interview. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We will stay in touch, and that is goodbye.